Hey guys, I'm FatBuddyCat, and this is my Chinese dual sport. Today, we're going to do our first oil change, and then take this thing outside and see how it handles a few inches of snow. Step one, we're going to turn the bike on. Here's our choke. Make sure our kill switch is on run. Turn the key and oh yeah, it's cold. I'm gonna have to hold this throttle for a couple minutes. It's about 28 degrees. Yeah, I'll get her warmed up for you. Fast forward about 4 minutes. I have the choke completely off, and we're maintaining a pretty smooth idle. I'm going to rev it up a little bit, hold it there. I'll get the engine all the way to operating temperature, or what I assume is operating temperature, and then we'll look at dropping the oil. There we go. Should be able to rev it up and return to an idle. Alright, she's warm. I have my 17 millimeter on my ratchet ready to go. Slice of cardboard underneath just in case. My trusty leveler. Put that underneath the kickstand. At the same time, I'm being cautious not to let the bike fall over. This way, the motor's sitting level. When we let the juices flow, they're all going to come out, and we're not getting up and leaning the bike and trying to manipulate the drop itself. I'm going to be using an empty coffee tin for my catcher. I'm just going to get under here and loosen the plug with my ratchet. Once I can turn it, I'll get my sausage fingers on it and take it all the way off so that I don't drop it down in there. Oh, I thought I could be quick with it. I'm going to grab a rag, clean up my mess while this oil dumps out. The filler is down here behind the Kickstarter. I'm just going to loosen that up, but leave it there for safekeeping. It actually looks like we're down to just a couple drops. I'm going to clean off my plug, put her back in. Alright, all tightened up. Get out of there. I'm going to place my used oil in a safe place where it won't get spilled. I grab the cover, my rag, and a wrench. I'll meet you on the other side of the bike. The reason I didn't say the size of this wrench, well, that's because I didn't know. What we're after now is this large plug back here behind the shifter. It turns out that a 15/16 will get the job done. I'm going to reach in there with an extension and back that plug out. I'm going to be careful though, because inside is a filter screen. There's also a spring. So, use caution. It's under slight tension. I'm now paying attention to the orientation of this filter basket. That way, when I pull it out and clean it, and we put it back in, it's the same way. Sausage fingers, don't fail me now. I ended up having to use the elephant tweezers, and I carefully extracted the screen filter. It got some things on it when I clumsily dropped it down here on top of the skid plate, so I can't really tell you that anything came from inside the motor or not, but it actually didn't look too bad after that cap popped off. So I'm going to take this inside, clean it up with some soap and water. It does have a rubbery plastic ring on it. I'm assuming that's some sort of a seal, and we don't want that to deteriorate any quicker than it will on its own. I didn't even waste the soap. I just hit it with some warm water. Yeah, we're good to go. That is where it goes, and remember, it goes in this direction. There's the clean screen back inside. Next will be the cap and the spring. I'm going to wipe them down, place the spring inside the cap. I'm going to place the plug in my socket on the end of my extension, and I'll be sure to work it in straight and not cross thread it. This cap is also something of a plug, and it has a rubber seal. It's also very lightweight, probably aluminum. So you don't want to go stripping this thing out. Just put it in, get it snug, and then give it a little extra so that it's tight and not backing off. There we are, all tightened up. I just wiped it down with the rag the best I could. We're looking at 50, maybe 60 degree weather by the end of the week, so we'll be able to get out in the dooryard and hose her down. Kick that leveler out. Take my drip pan, put a cover on my used oil. I'm going to insert a clean funnel into an empty quart that I have. And I'm going to fill that quart with some Traveler 15W40 heavy duty diesel engine oil. This is comparable to the Rotella T4 stuff. If you look up the specs and pay attention to all these hieroglyphics, it's the same. They probably have some sort of a proprietary blend or something, but I'll tell you what, you can look this stuff up, and people use it in their farm tractors. They give it 5 stars. We're going to let this happen, at least for our break-in oil. I'm going to dump a quart right in here. These engines call for something like 1.1 quarts. The argument is that all of the oil may or may not come out of the motor. You don't want to overfill it, so you want to use a quart to do your change. Just to be safe, I'm using a full quart. So I'm a little over, but at least I'm not a little under. Nab that filler cap, get it out of the way. In goes the funnel, and I'm pretty sure you know what's going in this end. Once it's full, I'll put the filler back in, turn it out, and this has a dipstick on the end of it, so for what it's worth, we'll try to back it out of there and take a look. I mean, your guess is as good as mine as to what the actual fill mark is on that, but I'm going to assume we're in the safe running range. There's definitely oil in the motor. It's not falling out the bottom or the side, so I'm going to put this back in, wipe it down, and I'm going to start the bike up. I'm going to let it warm up again. Alright, we're all warmed up, and so is the weather. Probably about 15 degrees. Things are going to be slippery. We're on stock tires. I don't have it registered, otherwise we take a putt down the road. That said, let's see what happens. Whoa. It's slick. Right away, I can tell you these stock tires are not made for this. The ground clearance is awesome though. Just have to take it slow. Even the front wheel wants to drift a little bit in the snow. She just wants to come around. Yeah, it's slick out here. Let's go back this way. Nope. See what I mean? Not gonna happen. Not without getting off the bike. Cross over here though. Whoa. Then bring her down. Nice and easy. Oh, we're in. All right. I don't even dare go back in those woods. I don't think these tires will handle the little stumps. The comfortable ride definitely has some pep. If you can hang, you can ride this thing. You can manage anyway. Just can't really push it. So, I'm officially stuck where I'm at. Even with this tall bike, I can rock my way out. I'm just barely able to touch the ground. I control that back tire. Know if we try to go up the hill on the other side. For the suspension being as soft as it is, it's definitely comfortable. It doesn't seem to have too much of a negative effect, so we're not going up that. So I may have been revving her a little too much, or we could have a little buildup where I'm not bringing the RPM up. That's not ideal. Yeah, so I can slide all the way back down that using the front brake barely touching the ground. I like this. These conditions, it's just going to get worse. Everything seems to be okay. What I'm really looking at is how well these fenders did at protecting not only myself but the mechanical components. Yeah. All right, so there's mud all over the shock, but it didn't really make it much past there, and there's not a lot of buildup in the back of the skid plate. All right, that's what I was looking for. I'll see you back inside. Just want to check one more thing before I go in. That's all I needed to hear. With the light glaring, sometimes it's hard to see that neutral, but we're there. All right. What I was referring to that I needed to hear was that slight bit of hesitation, and it did it in first and second gear. I know it'll do it in third gear, probably fourth gear, and fifth gear. This is where a lot of people might jump the gun and start messing around with the carburetor. Well, this bike does not have many. Well, I've actually been informed that one of these is kilometers and maybe one is hours, or nope, that's a trip meter, and that's either way 23.5, you know what I'm saying? Real low like. So, from the factory, it's also known that these motors come with close to zero valve lash. At 500 kilometers perhaps, it is recommended that you do a service that includes relashing those valves. Why would they do that? Well, to limit you from your higher RPMs for the braking period on the bike. If these are indeed set to 0 lash with a cold engine, that lash will slightly expand. We'll just leave it at that. When that lash expands, it affects how much the valves are able to open or close. When you're demanding more from your intake, but your valve is not opening enough, you're going to get a stutter because it's not keeping up with the feed. It's really not even efficiently completing the combustion process. But that gets into timing and a whole bunch of other jazz that we're going to leave out of this. We're just going to keep it simple for now. Since we're not going to make a change to the carburetor, and we're going to wait for our break-in to service the valves, we can address a few other small issues. The chain is definitely too tight. These aren't doing anything for me. I'm not completely crazy about these either. We'll have to see if we can do something about that. But no matter what, it's a work in progress. Have a good night, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.